All right, now we're live for real. Now we're really live. So, for those of you who are tuning in the future, there was a mess up on a previous slide, but we're here now. So, let me pull up the chat and we'll get going. So, today's video, we're going to be addressing the controversies. Now, this is some of you are like, what are you talking about, Lance? You're the least controversial person I know. Well, in reality, it seems that that would not be the case. Lots of people like to get worked up about things that I do. So, for funsies, I did the following. This is so dumb. I asked ChatGPT, what are my biggest controversies? And bada bing, bada boom, we got a response from ChatGPT. Now, I apologize for using ChatGPT for something as stupid as this, but we got to do what we got to do, and I thought it was funny. So, first off, the Hoffman versus Hedrick identity split from 2021 to 2023. This is something that's actually important to kind of talk about. The community framed you as Hoffman's opposite, expressive, spontaneous, ultra technical, sparked which one teaches better, or too complicated versus too simple. There are a shocking amount of people who want to say that, I copy James, or that I'm like the counterpart to James, or they try to draw too many similarities between us when in reality, we're both just coffee professionals who started a YouTube, but you have the same in every field ever. It's just that coffee's so small that it seems like there are more coincidences than there really are. James is a good friend of mine. I chat with James regularly. In fact, I view him as one of my mentors whenever there's, questions or if I don't know, any doubt on something or a video idea, I message James. I shoot him a text and I'm like, hey, can you help me sort through this? And so we're tight. And yeah, there's no real need. Comparison's the thief of joy, right? There's no real need to have any weird type of comparisons. I remember at one point when I turned my studio white, which was 100% because it was previously black, and I did that to not draw James parallels because I know there are so many. Let's just call a spade sycophants out there that I did black tile to differentiate, but I work in here so much and it's mostly in the middle of the night when I'm doing a lot of my testing. It was quite depressing for me. It was hard for me to actually want to carry out a lot of the things I was trying to do. And I ended up just not doing anything in here for a while. And so I switched it to white because with these lights in the middle of the night, I mean, it's really bright and it's more uplifting. But anyway, that it gets old. The amounts of, like, one person one time said I was trying to be James because I have my own subreddit. First of all, I didn't start my own subreddit. Yes, there is a Lance Hedrick subreddit. I didn't start it. Someone reached out after they started it and said, "Is it okay I started this?" I was like, "Absolutely, have fun." And so that's just weird. That's just weird to like say. That's a weird critique. But yeah, so anyway, the next one is the soup shot / turbo espresso debate. So, of course, I started with a turbo shot video back in like 2021 or 22. And I was, heralding faster shots. And then more recently, I've kind of gathered everything under the term gushers, not because I'm dogmatic with the term turbo, but because there is confusion on the term turbo shot. And there are people who are dogmatic about it. It's 6 bar. It's just like the paper outline. There are other people who are more free with it. And so in order to kind of just get away from the difficulties of understanding what a turbo shot is, I was just like, anything that's faster than traditional is just kind of a gusher. When you're intentionally trying to yeet water through coffee, it's a gusher. And so I was kind of pushing that, not paying attention to pressure, just kind of doing whatever. And then, of course, more recently, we have soup, which is funny because ChatGPT made up, there is no acronym to soup. I made up SPRO only unpressurized. Let's get that out of the way. I'm not the inventor of the term soup. Originally, the term was piss that people were playing with on Discord. They thought as it was gaining more traction, they should make it more family friendly. And they called it soup because it's thin and it's like you're drinking a bowl of soup. A lot of people hate that term, and that's fine. I did not come up with it. I just kind of made a fun acronym for it, even though that was not the reason it's called soup. Is it espresso? I mean, there are people who want to get all up in arms that it is espresso or that it's not espresso. People who say it's not espresso are crazy. People who say it is espresso are crazy. Definitions are weird, and terminology that is, I mean, words are weird. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot, actually, because you kind of have filter coffee as a big, broad branch. And it's like, what is filter coffee? Well, people wouldn't put, some people put French press in that and some people don't. And so like there is a little bit of leeway there, but in reality, most everyone would call filter coffee like AeroPress or a V60 or a Kalita or whatever. If it passes through a filter, it's filter coffee. But even that definition's not great because you can do espresso through a paper filter. So is that filter coffee? But even still, then you have the world of espresso or pressurized coffee. But then AirPress is pressurized. So is that espresso? And so in reality, soup, in my opinion, probably shouldn't be qualified as espresso. But people are going to get mad that I said that, and that's okay. I think that we're at a point where trying to stretch the term definition, the definition of espresso, to encapsulate everything that is pulled in an espresso machine. I can, on the one side, I see the fairness of that. I understand the logic behind that, but on the other hand, it it can be insanely confusing, especially as we're still kind of figuring things out in this world. Espresso, but then again, we have to look at the history of espresso. Espresso was coined for coffee that was kind of like soup, where it was not a super high TDS. It was brewed under 1.5 bar of pressure with steam pressure. That is the original espresso machine. And the first patent was filed by Moriando in the late 1800s. And that is what espresso was until Achille Gaggia kind of redefined what espresso is with con crema, right? And that's when it was under higher pressure. You got crema with it. So at least at that time, people were capable of that distinguishing feature. You either were going to have a steam pressure made espresso, which was very watery and a big volume and brewed at like 2 bar, 1.5 bar, or you got a really tiny shot because the water chamber was smaller. Once you pulled the piston down, it couldn't hold that much water. You were getting a much smaller shot with creme on top. On top. So at one point they were capable of distinguishing it, but since the 40s, espresso has become a pillar of the livelihood and the culture of a lot of different areas around the world, and it is difficult to pull that away from what people kind of understand. So anyway, does espresso cover everything under the umbrella of espresso? It can. Should it? I don't really know. I don't ever call soup espresso. Sorry, I ate food earlier. Apologies for having something I pulled off my tongue. That's gross. Anyway, that becomes difficult. It becomes a difficult thing. All right. And so I don't know. It's difficult to really communicate my thoughts through a webcam, especially when webcams by their nature are they're pretty lame. But thankfully, I have this really cool partnership I'm working on right now with Airtime. So Airtime, look into my eyes because I'm going to hypnotize you as I talk very briefly about Airtime, the sponsor of this video, the sponsor of the Unfiltered channel, at least for a few videos. They are awesome. And you can actually get the same GIFs and animations I'm using here for your own type of experience. So Airtime is a camera plugin that you can have for your Zoom. It can be for Google Meets. It can be for YouTube. Wherever you get to choose your camera, you can toss Airtime in there. And look at this. We've got cool graphics going on. I mean, if you have to step away to use the restroom while you're in a business meeting online, which happens all the time, guess what? You can tell them who you represent. Or you can be like, oh, I got to go brew coffee while I'm on this call. And so you're like, be right back. The coolest of all, guys, I got to make some soup because y'all know it is soup time. So all of these are available on Airtime, which will be down in the caption below after I post this video. So I hope you brew something. Of course, y'all know who to call if you ever have grinder questions. It's me, the Burman. But the most important thing is I'm now Superman because soup is life and life is soup. But anyway, Airtime, super easy to use. Absolutely love it. And you can check it out, airtime.com/camera. I'm currently using the creator app part of it, which is fantastic. And yeah, I mean, it's simple. It's fun. It's, I mean, it just makes it look better on your calls. I mean, look at this. I have a cool little, let's go up here. There you go. My little cup with some taste the rainbow is the idea there. But yeah, you can get these away screens, the gifts, all that stuff down below. Thanks so much to Airtime for sponsoring these videos. Downloads free, available for Windows and Macs. And then, yeah, check out my branded images. They worked on those for me, and I'm super stoked. Anyway, let's get back to the controversies. I'm just stoked to have a freaking sponsor on this channel because it's the Unfiltered channel, and it's a sweet sponsor, but I should probably make soup as we're talking about soup. So let me get back to the live. I will answer chat here in a sec, but I'm getting on with these controversies. Look at that. Now we have a new background altogether, and I even cut off the edges. Isn't that sick? All right, so let's see. Yeah, is this still espresso? Does clarity matter more than texture? You don't have to choose. You can make soup. You can make espresso. It doesn't matter. If what you're hung up on is that's not espresso, fine. It's not espresso. I never said it was espresso. I don't think. If I did, sorry. So, I'm on here. It's a stream of consciousness, but don't get offended if I called it espresso and you don't think it is and it makes you mad. Try it out. If it's not your bag, if it's not your cup of tea, guess what? A lot of people, Spro wasn't their cup of tea, so they went to soup. Who cares? Let's all chill. It's coffee. We're chilling on coffee. There are massive threads apparently on our Espresso Homebrews and Discord about this. Professionals start experimenting with ultra fast, which is cool. There are actually lots of shops that have been integrating soup-like styles on their menu. I know at least one now and then in Nashville specifically bought some Oxos in order to do their stuff. Anyway, next, of course, we are all waiting for it is the blind shaker revolution. Back a couple years ago, I was doing data collection and I found accidentally that the blind shaker, was more effective than WDT, which mine's now all broken. This was not out of anger, like, oh, I hate the WDT. Ooh, acupuncture, nice. I even made a sweet homage to the beginnings of WDT, where I had acupuncture needles in my face at the beginning of the video and did a sick little skit. I'm very open to over time being proven wrong, and this has happened many times. I'm sure it'll be one of these. One of these points will probably be like, oh, Lance changes his opinions. Oh my God, I'm human and learn things. Okay, that's silly. Anyway, people just have too much time online, am I right? But yeah, so it went viral on TikTok, Reddit, and Instagram. It's a gimmick. Doesn't matter if you tamp properly, which that we know is false. Doesn't matter if you tamp properly. That's just wrong. That's been proven. I've proven that. Measurable improvements in construction. Most individual was traced back to that viral clip. I doubt that. But ChatGPT overdoes things. But the only reason I added the blind shaker, that was never even in I had this because I bought the EG1 like 3 years ago. So I had one. Didn't ever use it. Samo Smirke, take a shot every time I say his name. That's a joke a lot of people make. That should also probably on this list. I haven't looked through the list, but he messaged me when he was helping me on my methodology for the testing. And he was like, you should add the blind shaker to it. I assume you have one. I was like, I do. He said, add it. That's what we use in our testing lab here in Zurich when we do coffee experiments. So I was like, sure. And then it ended up being the best. And then I replicated the results because everyone was whining about not doing direct to portafilter that I used a $4,000 grinder. I replicated it direct to portafilter with a DF64. I don't understand why it's a controversy. Use a blind shaker if you want. Don't use it if you don't want. I don't get no sales from this. I don't care. And people who say I get money from this, what are you smoking? If I was going to partner with Weber on puck prep, I would have shilled the freaking Moonraker. That thing's like $600. I'd be making bank on that. What do you think their margin is? Not enough to be giving me bank. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean? Or I was reached out by numerous companies that wanted to make shakers with my endorsement or with my. I could have made money on that. You don't think I had people reaching out offering me equity on products? Come on, let's get our heads out of our anuses. This is silly. Sorry, I'm being feisty today because it's a little fun. And I filmed another video for my main YouTube earlier, and so I had a lot of coffee in that video. And so I'm a little on right now. So if you need to slow down or come back in a different mood, that's understandable. Also, if you're on the live, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to this channel. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss when I go live, because I will get to these chats in a bit. I just want to kind of run through these controversies. I like to make these a little longer. People can listen to them as they're driving or doing dishes, whatever. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you don't look at my ugly mug as you're listening. Next one, blind shaker revolution. Checked off the list. Silly. Smaller portafilter diameters. You publicly questioned the 58 millimeter standard, arguing that 54 or 53 baskets can perform as well or better. Again, ChatGPT being silly, whatever. Triggered heated Reddit and Discord threads about puck physics and headspace. Manufacturers like Weber, Option O, and Flair started openly citing your reasoning in product discussions. I don't think that's necessarily accurate. I know Flair has, but they said things that do not align with my testing, and I actually called them out on it. But I don't know about the Weber and Option O. I feel like they're just kind of grabbing names, but I do know there were triggered heated discussions on Reddit and Discord and stuff about puck physics. All I said about putt depth, all I've said about it is in a standard 58 millimeter basket, in order to get the same delicious coffee you can get from a 15 gram dose in a 49 millimeter basket, you would need to greatly overpack up to like 27 or I can't remember the math now. I have a chart I put out, but like 20 some odd grams. So I was like, yes, you can absolutely, you don't need a step down basket to get the quality the step down can give you. There's nothing inherent about the step down that is, well, not that I can prove, that is making coffee better than a 58 millimeter. It's that you can use a lot less coffee to get that same standard in a step down. So that was my whole thing this whole time, is that if you want to do 16-gram shots to save money, you're going to get a much better 16-gram shot out of a step down or out of a smaller diameter basket than you will a 58 millimeter. That I will die on. I will die on a hill about. The amount of testing and tasting I've now done, especially people at festivals asking me to come and like do blind taste in person, all that, I am more convinced than ever that you want, for the most part, don't take this to the extreme. You can take it pretty extreme. I don't want a straw that I'm brewing through, but for the most part, a depth when it comes to the sizes we're doing in espresso within the realm of understanding and reasonableness. Yeah, deeper baskets tend to yield better espresso at a given depth, right? So, or a given dose. So if we do 15 grams in here, 15 grams in here, I can tell you without question, I'll make you a better shot of espresso if given 5 pounds to dial in of each. It's coming from the step down, or it's coming from a smaller diameter. That's all I say by it. People get worked up. Oh my God, I'm not telling you to run out and spend your money. I'm giving you the data, and I'm giving you my anecdotal experience as far as tasting goes. But you just got to take it for what it is. If you don't like it, don't like it. But I promise you'll learn something. Even if you don't necessarily agree with the conclusions I draw, you can learn something from the data. There's no arguing that you have the same grind size at the same dose, or at the same depth, bed depth between the two. For instance, if we had the same exact bed depth in these two baskets, there would be different doses, of course, but same bed depth, they have the same grind size for the same extraction. That's not arguable. I showed that with dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of shots. I didn't go to all that work to not teach you something, or at least have a little bada bing moment. In addition, at the same dose, you're going to have coarser grinds in a deeper basket, which means less potential channeling, more homogeneous texture, which we know this because we can see the extractions we get from 10-second soup versus super finely ground traditional. So it's not that shocking, especially as we learn more about espresso. Anyway, this should not be a controversy. I'm just saying you can save money on coffee and improve your espresso experience by down dosing in deeper baskets. I mean, come on. This isn't a controversy. The decent espresso reversal. Here we go. Initially one of the loudest champions, later one of the most honest critics. Some accuse you of flip-flopping or biting the head that fed you. Well, first, to be fed, I'd have to be like given a free machine or paid by them. I wasn't given a free machine, nor have I ever been paid by them. So I don't know. Anyway, I guess they fed me, though, because that is where I learned a lot about espresso. No question. Others said it proved your integrity for calling out issues ever extensive use. The flip-flop, let's discuss that. Initially, it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And honestly, it still is, in the sense that it's still the only machine that can do a dynamic water temperature profiling. They have 2 water pipes that are feeding, and you're getting a dynamic water temperature control, which is incredible. There are a lot of issues with it, though. Absolutely. There are issues with the software. There are issues with, like, I've had to change out parts before, and one exploded. Granted, I was using a transformer, and I had to get it replaced. But as far as longevity goes, they can be great if you take care of it. And as far as usability goes, if you are aware of what you're getting into, it can be great. But I flipped because initially I was pulling loads of shots and there was a lot of inconsistencies, but it was not based off of a typical home enthusiast's use. I was doing literally 200 shots in a day. Okay. I was seeing bigger swings on the integrated scale, which, to be honest, that's picking breadcrumbs, because most machines can't even do a drain by weight. Well, that's a gross thing to say, but you know what I mean? Shot by weight, whatever you want to say. So I had my nitpicks about it, and I've kind of come back, but just because I've been very disappointed with any type of innovation in the espresso space. Other than Meticulous, there's been nothing exciting that has come out. Everything is a recapitulation of something else on the market. Go back and look at my last 10 espresso machine reviews. If it doesn't include the Decent, or like Meticulous, or maybe the Unica Pro, everything's the freaking same. Yeah, sure, the Sanremo U has some graphics on it, but it's an E61 that's been converted into an SR61, which is a couple of solenoids on the bottom. Like there's, we have a new and improved E61. What'd you do to it? Heating cartridges in the head. Okay, well, look at this machine. We have improved thermal stability even more, and we added a PID controller. Okay. Oh, look at this. We've changed our boiler from aluminum brass. Okay. Like, oh, look, we've changed from brass to stainless steel. Cool. Oh, look at this. Our thermal. I don't give a crap about your thermal stability. I don't give a crap that you gave me some pre-infusion options. I don't give a crap that you have external pump pressure. This is all so superfluous. It's so tiny. Like, give me something exciting and juicy, not the same things with just a little tweak that home enthusiasts have been doing to their own machines for freaking years. All right. So this should not be, I mean, I am indebted to Decent because, honestly, without them and their forum and their people pushing the boundaries of what espresso is, I would probably know only half or less than half of what I think I know about espresso now. So yes, I'm indebted to the decent paradigm. Let's say that. But yeah, I've been critical of their machines, and I've gone back and forth on calling it the greatest thing since sliced bread. When it first came out, it was the most exciting day of my life because it was when I was finally able to afford a decent espresso machine. I got one in, and it fueled loads and loads and loads of videos, and still does because of the data it allows me to collect. But like when I think about over time, the initial flip came from understanding the home market more and understanding the what people want, and from there, it was very obvious to me that a lot of home enthusiasts were not wanting to sign up for what the decent experience is, which is fine. And I tried to elaborate upon that, though I did get criticized heavily for saying it wasn't super consistent. But again, no one's pointing the amount of shots I pulled on that in the amount of time I did, so that's also my bad for I guess it was more of a critique for commercial use. I don't know. But even commercial shops that are opting for a decent likely aren't pulling the amount of shots I did and the amount of time I did because it was kind of insane. I had like a team of people here helping me collect data. So I was just eating shots, eating. And it's hard for a machine anyway. Okay. All right. So decent espresso reversal, whatever. Breville dual boilers, and if this is something that'll follow me forever. So when I started YouTube, I did have a Breville dual boiler. That's the machine I had that pre-existed my YouTube days. Why did I have it? Very easy. I can tell you why I had it. Before I did YouTube, before I did any of that, I was given a Breville dual boiler in 2019, and it was because Onyx Coffee Lab resold Breville machines, and due to that relationship, a few of us employees got Breville machines. Like my buddy Bear and coworker got a Breville. Well, I can name people here, but lots of people have got Brevilles for free, essentially, that worked with Onyx because we resold them, and yeah, bada bing, bada boom. It was simple as that. So I had one 2.5 years prior to even starting YouTube. So that was my machine. I couldn't afford another machine. That was my machine. And so one of my first videos is a review of it. I used it in all my videos because that's what I had. Okay. Started YouTube. You don't just automatically get paid a ton of money. I still don't get paid a ton of money. So you don't just automatically, you're swimming through money like, oh my God, which machine should I pick? You use what you got. I had a Brazza Sette. I had one at a latte art throwdown, and I had a Breville dual boiler I had been given. Now, I did have an Oscar, what was it? A Simonelli Oscar 2 or something. I did have that because I won it at a latte art championship. But once I got the Breville dual boiler, it was miles better. I sold the Oscar for like $1,000 or something, and I kept the Breville dual boiler. At one point in time in 2017, I won a La Marzocco Linea Mini, but I was poor. I needed the money. I immediately sold it before even unboxing it. I left it in the crate, and I just put a shipping label on it, and I took the money instead of the machine. So I had other machines, but I wanted money instead, and getting a free Breville allowed me to sell my Oscar and have a better machine at home. Love the Breville dual boiler, and I knew more about that than any other machine, so of course I talked about it early. And then also, like 3 years ago maybe, there was a concept Breville dual boiler created between me and Breville. This was never going to see the market. I thought for a bit there, I thought maybe it would because it was received so greatly. But we have to remember Breville's such a big company that a little bit of excitement and a little bit of a crowd of a little bit of a specialty coffee industry does not warrant a full product launch. So sad day. But it was like their whole idea with it was I would get to do what I've been doing online, which was, modifying my Breville dual boiler, but I would get to do it to the nth degree. I got to design the panels. I got to do an homage to my friend who had died battling colorectal cancer. My friend Daniel Lee, rest in peace, my friend, rest in power. So I got to do his favorite latte art design was on the side of the machine. And it was my homage to a good friend of mine that passed too soon. I got to do a gear pump in there. I got to put this pressure profile and pre-save buttons for a turbo shot. And I got to do these really cool things with it. And it was showcased. And then they have two versions of it. One is in their, I think their Redondo Beach Breville HQ, and one is in their Melbourne or Sydney HQ. I don't even have one, okay? But those things are what, but the Breville dual boiler is incredible. It beat everybody to the market with all the tech that they packed into that machine in 2011. Phil McKnight is a genius. He's the one who does the razor, which was brilliant. He was dosing by volume years before it was a trend. He was creating these saturated groups that were created to fit in the dual boiler with minimal space necessary. He was like, there's all these things that he's brought to the table. He's a genius, and he did all of this. The potentiometer control of the pump, all that was in the dual boiler 15 years ago. And so, yes, I have doted on the Breville dual boiler, no cap. I've also critiqued a lot of Breville stuff. But anyway, it makes people mad that I say it can make coffee as good as pretty much any other typical machine that's flat 9 bar, if not better. Oh, this one's cool. Already, the free SCA course for everyone series is on here. You distilled SCA curriculum to bingeable educational content, praises democratizing coffee knowledge, criticized by SCA trainers who failed to undercut their paid certifications. I would be curious if people are actually criticizing it because it underpays or undercuts their paid certifications. That would stink. But also, like, before you go into a business trying to capitalize on underpaid baristas, how about you think about that before you do that? How about let's think about who we're trying to capitalize on before we go into a business to capitalize upon a certain group. Okay, let's like think through that. Oh yeah, I'm going to get a certification to charge a ton of money to people who don't have much money. That sounds like a great idea. Now, if you want to get certified to train and like, I don't know why you would do it other than to charge baristas. Maybe if you were just like, oh no, companies have to pay me. That's different. Yeah, go charge the companies. But the baristas, come on now. And now there are places that are requiring certifications to get a job. You must be SCA recognized barista level 2 in order to apply for this job. Come on, you can't tell me anyway. And these courses are, for the beginner, it's 7 hours course. Intermediate is 14 hours. Advanced is 21 hours. No, I just put all that. Like, now again, I am not emulating their courses directly. I did not take any information. I don't have any privileged information. I do know AST trainers, but I did not ask any of them for any information. I have taken just what is publicly understood as their goals for each module, and then I gave you the information to achieve those goals. So I looked at what their goals were, and I was like, I will train people to hit those goals in less time and what I believe to be more up-to-date knowledge, because a lot of what they rely upon is like UC Davis stuff. And I've questioned a lot of their methodology before in the past. I've talked about their methodology, I think, on Chris Hendon's podcast where we critique some of it. There's a lot of stuff there, but if you're a trainer and you feel like I'm undercutting your paid, well, don't try not to capitalize on baristas. How about you charge wealthy people or cafes and let them pay you instead? And I'm not going to apologize for it, because I want people who want to be baristas, and I want home enthusiasts that want good education. That's not just random people that's never worked a day in their life in a bar to teach them how to make coffee. So many people that are teaching online have never touched a bar and don't know, like, you don't need to know it. They're home enthusiasts, honestly, that are brewing really great coffee. But there is a little bit extra that you can get when you take a barista class, assuming that the education is good. And so I'm just like, screw it, I'll just give the education. Come at me. Anti-gatekeeping rants, your open calls against coffee elitism, roasting dogma, light-only worship, etc., often spun into comment section wars, lowering standards, opening access, shaped a noticeable tone shift in specialty coffee towards inclusivity. I doubt that's accurate, or I shifted a notable... I doubt that's accurate. Let's just be honest. A notable change, I doubt that. But I mean, I do like to go on anti-dogma rants, like... There are a lot of people who think that dark roast ruins the coffee. Okay, for you it does, but for some people it's the only way they like their coffee. Who cares? My whole thing in this, yes, I want people to drink coffee, but in the world especially, there should be a place for everyone at the table. There should be darker roasted coffees there. And you say, why specialty? Well, in an idyllic world, specialty coffee is reserved for coffees that have more sustainable and traceable origins. So you'll be able to see that your cash flow is going back in a more respectable way. A lot of people say, well, that's not how it works in every other industry. You don't expect transparency when you buy whatever. I'm like, listen, do a little bit of economic research. Coffee is genuinely noted by any economist that knows anything about coffee as different than any other industry in the world. I'm not just saying that. Look it up, read about it, do some research. Coffee is different, and it is way, way, way more unequal than you would ever imagine. And so it is very important that we pay attention to this, or we're not going to have coffee to drink. We're not, especially not good coffee, as time goes forward. So it's just a little food for thought. You know what I mean? All right. Extraction science debates. You've popularized discussions around refractometer use, turbulence, Fick's law, and soak phase. And okay, why is that controversial? That's freaking dope that popularized Fick's law. What about Darcy's law? You forgot Darcy's. Some educators said you were over-scientizing coffee. Don't make up words. We know that in Strunk and White, Volume 4, putting IZE on the end of anything is making crap up. Others said you were bridging the gap between science and craft. The turbulence for diffusion discourse arguably started with your videos. Again, I doubt that. I feel like this is praising me too much. But what are you going to do? ChatGPT is a little stand for me. And we all know where stand comes from, that really weird obsessive song by Eminem. But sorry, ChatGPT, I'm taken. I got confused because the picture is mirrored, and I'm taken So chill out, bruh. Yeah, there's not really anything to say about that. Let's get back to this cool background. Burr seasoning and alignment claims. You've repeatedly claimed that burrs improve after seasoning. This sparked entire Reddit threads trying to disprove or confirm your position. It's not one of the most polarizing isn't myth or measurable arguments in grinder culture. Okay, well, I got bad news for people, but I did make a video with pretty slam the door shut data where Mark Alshamari did a full testing on this, seasoning burrs and measuring particle size distribution. There is a notable difference. It's not just fiction. In fact, a lot of burr manufacturers will also say it. I mean, if you're going to go against measurable data that has been produced by a doctor of chemistry up in Utrecht, Netherlands, you're going to go against like Hansung, who's known as like one of the more modern fathers of burr geometry. You're going to go against Malkunik. You're going to go against all of these. Like, come on, that's just silly. That now. Is it every single one needs 10 kilograms of seasoning? No. Some come where they don't need as much seasoning. Some come where they need a ton of seasoning. But seasoning is a thing. And it's not just like seasoning a skillet. It's not like you need to wipe oil on it and then heat it up in an oven. No, it's just, do we know exactly what's going on? No, but some of the ideas are that it is dulling a bit of the blades. The blades come way too sharp and it causes too much fracture. Whenever you're going, you get more fines. That's why you get muddy beds with new burrs. You can't tell me you've not gotten a new grinder and had super muddy beds and over a couple of weeks it went away. It's not just your grinder setting in, it's doing something to the burrs. Anyway, this is silly. I have a whole video on it. If you're still skeptic, peep that junk. All right. Your brand collaborations and transparency. It's crazy that this is a controversy because I feel like I'm the most transparent human in the world. I feel like you could see my organs. Occasional chat around whether your brand deals OXO. That's wild. Maybe they just say that because I love the OXO. Anyway, affect your reviews. You've consistently disclosed partnership, but Reddit often dissects every mention of a product. Of course, Reddit does. Reddit loves me. Why don't they call it? They probably want to not grind Finder, but grind Lance. No, that's gross. So. Interesting. Yes. Anytime I've had any type of collaboration, which is very rare, I'm very upfront about it. Like when I made the Pietro Brewer, which they've now copy pasted for the 64 millimeter. And I'm proud to say that apparently that burr geometry I created holds up in the 64 millimeter platform. I've not actually used it because when I worked with Pietro, which is a subsidiary company of Fiorenzato, I told them I would not touch a Fiorenzato product while I was working with them because I didn't want any type of perceived bias. So I rejected any offers from them to send me all these different grinders. Trust me, I had my choice. I had the pickings. Now my contract with them is up. I get there's no affiliation anymore other than the fact I did design that burr. I don't get paid for anything. I signed it, just to be honest, I signed a crap contract that wasn't in perpetuity. It was for like 2 years. But I was open about that. I made one video on the Pietro, and I rarely brought it up after that. It was other people who brought it up because I did make one video, and in it, I literally titled it like I made these burrs or something. X-Bloom. Yes, I was part of that startup in a sense. I wasn't like part of the startup, but I did some consulting for them very early on, and a lot of my ideas were used, especially when they started the Volume 2. They integrated almost everything I critiqued the first one on in our private consultations. They implement it into the X-Bloom studio. So a lot of what I said wasn't that. But guess what? I made a video on the X-Bloom 2 times, on the original and on the studio. And both times I was full about my disclosure at the beginning of said videos. And I was like, listen, I was part of this. So take that for what you will. But obviously when I make something and whenever I am going to work with a company again, which is not common, I have in the contract that I get final say on things. Right. So before it goes to market, I have to approve it before anything is going to be known publicly about what I do. So, yeah. So if I make something, then you can say, yeah, you're biased, but you would already have to be trusting that bias if you have listened to anything else I say, if that makes sense. Like, for instance, making soup. I love making soup on my OXO. I have no affiliation with the company. I like making soup with the OXO. A lot of you have tried it and you like making soup. No one, well, I guess there are, I will have to imagine there are people accusing me of brand deals because I've made like 3 videos in rapid succession with the OXO. But I would feel like this is the least amount of criticism I've gotten on like, oh, he likes a product. He must be in their pocket. That's silly. I can't just like products every now and then. What the heck is up with that? But I don't remember what I was going to say. It doesn't really matter. But but you have to trust, like, if you bought the OXO because of my review, it's because you trust my bias towards what I like, right? In the same way, if I put my stamp of approval on something because I was part of the integration or the creation of something, that means, like, yeah, sure, there's bias, but so is there bias in me saying I like soup on the OXO. It's like, what's going on here, right? I think that's kind of it. I was just going over my brand collaborations. I obviously Lotus Water, which I rarely talk about because I co-founded the company, which I think is the greatest thing since sliced bread as far as water additives, and because it gives you actual control, so you don't have to rely on someone else's recipe and then just dilute or concentrate their recipe. You don't actually get control. Here, you have full control to replicate those recipes or any other recipe that you want. Like, I'm open about that. I'm open about what is there anything else I've really done? I mean, everything else I've bought full price, so I don't really know what could be said. Yeah, I don't know. I've never worked with Easy Presso. People think I have because I like their grinders. Sorry, I like grinders that are good and good for the money and have budget options. Like, whatever. I must also work. The funniest thing has been, though, let's be real for a second. Weber and Coffeetech, big competitors. Okay, I've been accused of being in Weber's pocket and in Coffeetech's pocket. That would be a no-go. I guarantee you, if I was in one of their pockets, I'd be signing some sort of non-compete clause that wouldn't allow me to work with the other company. So let's put on our thinking caps. If I'm praising two competitive companies, there's no way I'm working for either one because I'd probably be in legal trouble. Like, we got to use our brains instead of our emotions. Jeez Louise. Emotions have a place, but not when you're trying to critique someone's, presence. The no bypass brewing and filter style reversal. You were early to amplify no bypass. This is a good one. Then became skeptical of its benefits. The evolution made people accuse you of inconsistency, while others appreciated your willingness. Okay, so just so you know, that was the next one. This is a good one. This is another one where people say I was flip-floppy. And I was, absolutely, and I'll take that on the chin. There's 180 people here. Y'all better be hitting the like button or I'm going to cry and weep, and it won't be pretty. I'll do it on camera. I'm like an actor. I can cry on command. You don't believe me? Just watch. Just kidding. I won't do that. Actually, I got a little teary-eyed. I'm not kidding. So I forgot the one we were just talking about. No bypass brewing. Yes. So originally, just like so many of us, it was early in my YouTube career, or it wasn't that early in my coffee career. I was like 7-8 years in, but I was smitten with, let's just call it, the Rayoism. Scott Rayo has preached for a long time that the highest extraction yield that you can get without astringency is the best. And then we had Jonathan Gagne, who sort of at one point, I'm not saying he does now, I haven't really kept up with it, but at one point kind of pushed that same narrative. And so lots of people have, what do you call it? The syndrome where you don't feel like you're good enough. I don't know. That syndrome, imposter syndrome. And so I'm going, I've never had that experience, but it must be true because Scott Rayo, who is the first books I read in coffee were by Scott Rayo, and then Gagne, a physicist who's smarter than me, they're both kind of saying the same, they're singing the same tune. And so, yeah, I went down that no bypass rabbit hole, kind of praised it. And, but then over time, when I got rid of, let's be real, like, there's a certain arrogance, and I will admit that. A lot of people call me arrogant. You're not wrong. I do, but it's more so I'm confident in what I like to taste. So when I'm talking about something, it does come from a place of arrogance because I am not someone to mince words when I know I like something or know I think something's better. I'm very confident. I guess it wouldn't be arrogance because I'm not saying I'm better than you. It's more like I am better than you at tasting what I like. You know what I mean? Like, duh. And I'm just very confident in how I present things, and anyway, that's grown over the years, right? And so then I started to actually test and more, and then bada bing, bada boom, I realized, you know what? The more I do side by sides of no bypass versus partial bypass or more bypass, the more I don't care about the science being that more water's in contact with coffee. That doesn't necessarily mean a good thing in filter coffees. I like the stratified brews. And so I feel like if anything, that should show my authenticity that I'm willing to eat crow when it's necessary. I'll eat crow. If I'm proven wrong, I eat crow. Like WDT. Look at all the videos I did praising WDT, and then all of a sudden I eat crow. All right. You can call it flip-flop. I call it being more authentic. I call it, facing the God's honest truth, right? Well, it doesn't have to be truth, but you know what I mean. The next one is very funny and one that should be discussed briefly. The Lance Hedrick left Reddit drama. Your exit from Reddit became a meme in itself, sparked debates about how creators should or shouldn't interact with online communities. This is hilarity, my man, because it's true. I at one point used Reddit as a place to kind of, how do we say this? Originally on YouTube, I would get troll comments and I would have fun trolling back. But apparently trolls cannot handle when you troll back, and neither can other people, because they see you like on YouTube specifically, they see you as a person in a position of like not just authority, but like you should be morally held to a higher standard. And so some people would like say things, and I would respond with childish retorts, like when you're doing disses with your friends in 5th grade. And I would say something like, your face is stupid, something like that. And people would get so upset on YouTube when I did that. Other people, I can't believe this is Lance. That would be so vile to someone. Like, did you see the troll comment? They said like I was fat or something, And so it was wild. And so I didn't get any, after a while of doing that, I wasn't really getting any of that desired like troll desire I had. I'm a millennial. I like to troll, or I like the idea that I like to troll. So then one time I went to Reddit and I found freedom there trolling other people. But then as my name got bigger and I trolled people, there were other people who would troll like really hard, and they would get like, they would begin, instead of just trolling, they would start to defame me. And I don't sit well with lies. And it really pisses me off when people say things. Genuinely, it pisses me off. I don't get sad ever. So don't ever think I'm getting sad about something. I get annoyed. That's actually I get very annoyed very easily. And when I see people saying stupid stuff, I get really annoyed. And I'll get on there and respond out of annoyance. And at one point I decided, probably not good for me to do this. And I will say, bless his heart, James has spies everywhere. I feel like he's like Varys from Game of Thrones. He's got his little birds, and he would message me every now and then. Hey, I know that you posted on Home Barista. Don't do that. Hey, I see you're active in Reddit. Don't do that. There's only bad things that'll happen from that. And so I pulled out for a good few months, and some people were upset about that. Some people made it into a meme that I couldn't handle Reddit. It wasn't that I couldn't handle Reddit. Handling people with a cumulative IQ of 73, that's not hard. No, I'm kidding. If you're watching Reddit, I'm sorry. I say it right there. Don't write your blog about me freaking out. I'm sorry. It's yeah. So it is sort of a meme. I actually kind of find it funny that it like I live rent free in that many people's head that they kind of keep bringing it up. But there were a couple of people that were like quasi stalking me on there. Every time my name was mentioned, they felt the need to say something, and I found a few people that were doing that. Very funny. And so my last kind of goodbye to Reddit was going through and trolling back those people. And I would just say to every comment, "Oh my God, you're obsessed with me. Oh my God, you're obsessed with me." And got blocked by a few people. Childish, I know. Should I have done it? No, I've learned. It's fine. I am back on Reddit. Just I check it once every like 2 months, and it's largely checking my own subreddit, which I did an AMA on recently. I felt, I need to get back on Reddit just to check my own subreddit. Well, I say it's my own. I didn't start it, but to check the Lance Hedrick subreddit and just be, kind of a little presence there every so often. But I get sucked back into childish tendencies when I get on Reddit, and that's kind of why I left. I'm still a child in some areas, and I have that millennial troll desire sometimes. What can I say? It's like my own brain rot. I don't do 6'7", but you know what I mean. I do a little bit of childish trolling. Let's see. I think there's one more. The Lance Hedrick effect on coffee gear design. After your viral distribution and puck prep content, manufacturers begin designing integrated WDT tools, shakers with magnetic lids, narrow baskets, and lower headspace designs. Some community members call it the hedrification of prosumer gear. Others mock it as form over function. I mean, I'd be stupid to say I haven't noticed the effect that videos I do, the effect they have on the market. I know this. There's now like 6 step-down baskets that one can buy. That being said, give credit where credit's due. The only reason I was able to indulge my initial fascination with smaller diameter baskets, which did predate the advent of what I'm about to give roses to, but only reason I was able to actually indulge into those things is because S-Works Design had already made a step-down basket. So I got initially, obsessed with smaller diameters because I got in a real big obsession with lever machines, especially vintage lever machines, like 3 years ago. Started to acquire them left and right. That's why I have tattoos of vintage levers on my arm, like the Femina, the Gagagilda. Loved it. And I was like, honestly, I think I can get better espresso than I can with 58. And I wonder why that is. Only reason I can indulge that fascination is when S-Works released a billet step-down basket on his own accord. He released that as like an option, and bada bing, bada boom, I checked it out. I started going ham on it. Same thing with like a lot of things, like the fancy basket situation. I'm not saying I started that, but there was I definitely, probably stoked the embers on that. Just even though my fancy basket video did conclude with, these are probably not worth their price. You should probably just use a bottom paper filter. It's fine. But even still, that kind of went crazy. The shaker situation is expounded upon all recognition. The changes to WDT because of previous WDT things I did. I am very aware of what's happening in grinders. More people going to an 80 millimeter size burr. I've been there's been a huge fascination on 98. I really loved 80, not more than 98, but I was really pushing 80, and then bada bing, bada boom, we have bing, bing, bing. Blind burrs. Again, that predates me, but I definitely was pushing a narrative. Pre-breaking augers. There's now one added retrofitting to some grinders. Now that's a kind of a big deal. There's been things, I'm very aware of it, and that's not me being arrogant. I'm just being observant. You can disagree, and that's absolutely fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Slow feeding, things like that. But so I'm very aware of it, and I understand the form of a function, but the only times I obsess over something is when I notice it has a big change, makes a big difference. And so I don't just like change for no reason. Smaller basket diameter, less coffee waste. That's all I care about. Like, yes, it gets you better coffee at a given dose, but also just less coffee in general. You can maintain the same bed depth, get the same exact extraction as a 58. So those who say, no, 58's a priori better, you're wrong, dummy. No, you can do the same bed depth in a 49 millimeter, just do less coffee. You're just wasting less coffee. Now, if you're a weirdo that only finds you like 16-gram doses in a 58 and you don't want to dose like 11 in a 49, okay, fine. Yeah, 58's better for you. You win. You win. You win. Don't care. Anyway. But yeah, so that's the Lance Hedrick VH, and I get it. It's fine. It is what it is. But cool. They put a little chart. Broader coffee debates you've helped popularize. This is kind of cool. Here, we'll take a look at that real quick. Just because ChatGPT doing ChatGPT things. Theme, turbo espresso, define and named variants, changed how baristas down layers. Not really. Skill, hard. Oh, this is just going over everything that they already did. Okay, cool. Anyway, all right. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all the things. So, all right, now we can go to these bad boys. We have 193 people watching. I don't see 193 likes. What's going on here? I'm gonna have to do a scream like what's that comedian Sam Kinison does on his David Letterman appearance? Oh my god, that's iconic. You know, when he's like pushing the stroller, it's like I'm dead inside. Okay, Sam Kinison. Give a heart for Sam Kinison. Come on, that's some funny stuff there. That was one of my favorite stand-up little features I've ever seen, actually. That little 8-minute stand-up on Letterman. If you've not seen that from Sam Kinison, watch it. It is so good. My dad showed me that when I was young, and it was very, oh my God, I freaking love it. You know, I kind of want to show here, but it's 8 minutes. That's too long, so we won't do it. I am, however, like for real, like this is for real. Beer brewing something tasty, but I'll let you see me brewing something tasty. But I needed to use the GIF and actually mean it. So I'm going to BRB and I'm going to brew something tasty real quick. We're gonna do a little we'll do soup, because why not? We talked about soup, and me apparently I single-handedly disrupted the blah 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 blah. So we're gonna make soup. We're gonna make a little bit of soup, and it's gonna be yummy. We're gonna soup up. Let's get dose cup. We're gonna soup up this Kenya from Picky Chemist. We're gonna soup it real good. I hope it was fun going over these controversies. I'm gonna go through. We'll see what your responses are. If y'all have any questions, or if y'all want to like say you're a dum-dum, yeah, let me. And I was talking really quickly. So on the rerun, when this goes live, feel free to go to like 0.75 speed. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. And you can like not really watch it like you can watch it in your earpiece or something. So a lot of it's just ranting. You know what I'm saying? I'm a ranty boy sometimes, a lot of times. So let's get my soup maker. ¿Dónde está my paper filters? Here we go. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Community fans out there? Dan Harmon, Peak Years, seasons 1 through 3. Peak. That's peak comedy. Y'all like a little bit of meta-modernism in your show? A little sprinkled in meta-modernism? Well, you can find that in Dan Harmon's community. I should do like a culture podcast. We talk about weird stuff there. No, I'm not going to do that. I ain't got time for a podcast. All right. So let's see. We're going to, oh, wow, lots of comments. Thanks, my friends. All right, so let's see. You become obsessed with soup. You know I love that. Novel basket, sports design, convex. Someone's asking about convex baskets. You better believe I got convex baskets to the Supreme. I'm waiting for one from 9 Panda Cafe, and I'll do a video on it. Only under pressurized. I mean, yeah, that's fair. It is under pressurized instead of unpressurized. It is what it is. What is Spro? Spro is just shorthand for espresso, which who knows what it actually means. That's the issue, right? We don't even really know what people mean when they say espresso. For people to get, you know, there's like the definition that Italy, there's an official definition of espresso in Italy. So if you want to say that Italy are the dogmatic leaders of what espresso should be, then you can look that up and just abide by that. But if you do that, I mean, the majority of espresso you've had in your life is not espresso. So it's one of those things where it's like, how far do you take it? How far do you not take it? You know, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? That's the question I ask. What are we even doing here? Like Wayne from Letterkenny. Come on, saturate the full base. I don't care. I'm just going for it. Don't care. It is what it is. Who likes Letterkenny? Hard no. Ferda boys. Letterkenny. Come on, where's the Bonnie McMurray? Pitter patter, let's get at her. To be fair, what can I say? Fan of the show. Can't do anything about that. Once you're a Letterkenny fan, nothing you can do. All right. It just so happens that I'm a big fan. And I saw that Jared Keese was on another show coming out, so that's fantastic. Okay. With gushers, is it just my basket, or do gushers always shoot out at crazy angles, missing the cup way too much? They douse my scale every time. Yes, they will shoot out crazy angles. I recommend using either be ready for a cleanup or use a spouted portafilter. Step down basket video will be coming. I'm waiting for the one from Introvert Makes. I'm waiting for the one from 9 Panda. And I guess I should get the Normcore one. This is recorded, Lucas. Oh yeah, it was ChatGPT that talked about the controversies, FYI. It wasn't like someone sent me a list of grievances. Wait, start over. I just got here. That's a funny comment. Moon theory on burst season, it creates micro teeth on the edges of the birds, making them fracture less and cut more efficiently. That's cool. I feel like we could prove that or disprove that pretty easily with high power microscopes. Still think you should grind finder. LOL. And I have no proof. I just stand by it. That I love that. Sounds very. I won't say it. Soup is an espresso, and I'm fine with that. That doesn't bother me. Seem to be a lot about other. Yeah. Slow feeding review. Yeah, I mean they all do the job. It really comes down to aesthetic and I guess longevity. Spent a lot of money in gear. Do I regret? No, it's such a fun journey. I love that. Let's see. Use the suppressor. I know the doubles. Oh no, the issue. So I tried it. So the guy who commented that sent me this. And I can't really get it to seal. I put it in with a basket and it doesn't seal. And so I'm not able to get anything with baskets in there. So I haven't really been able to figure out how to use it. 6 seasons in a movie! Abed. Praise subpar gear. That's why I fell for you in Prometheus. I'm so tired of it. Yeah, I mean, I will pray. Yeah, I guess subpar is relative to price, right? So I try to do everything relative to the price and what their niche is, right? So anyway, I mean, people still concern the conspiracy, as you did talk about being in contact with them for a glass version or so. Oh, it's true, but the conspiracy, that was after the video. So if you remember in my video, I asked commenters. I had not been in contact before that. I asked commenters to tag Oxo or to reach out to Oxo on my behalf so that we could make one, because Oxo's a freaking huge company. It wasn't as simple as, hey, Oxo, listen to me. So yeah, that there should be no conspiracy, because literally the beginnings of me talking was post my video review, right? I mean, simple as that. Yeah. So yeah, I was, and if I was trying to be shady about it, I wouldn't have done it publicly. Instead, in the video that got 400,000 views, I was like, everybody, reach out to Oxo and say, hey, reach out to Lance for an all, So I would love to do it. So I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm saying when I made the video, ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Try going less than 49. Yeah, obviously you have some flares that are less than 49. And then I've tried one that was like a 36 step down or something, a 40 step down. Do you think the best coffee is found in proprietary burrs, or interchangeable like SSP? No, I do not find that the best are in proprietary burrs. No. I still do not find that. I do really like the coarse burrs from Coffeetech in my M98V, but they're not the best filter burrs. They're very good. They're up there. They're very forgiving. But they're not giving the best brews possible. Same thing with like the Meisens I've tried. I have gotten a pair of Meisens that I've gotten to use, and I've just not really enjoyed them that much. They're just kind of mad burrs. Still the best, the highest peak burrs I still have had are all by SSP. Like I would say my top 5 burrs are all SSP burrs, likely. The course from Coffeetech would probably enter that discussion, but it's not because they have the highest potential for the greatest cup. They have the highest potential to consistently give me a really good cup, if that makes sense. So they would, for consistency's sake, they would make it into the top 5. The other 4 would be SSP, no question. And I'm someone that's been tried and true, even when there's been hype for other burrs, there's been hype for all this other stuff. I've been tried and true. I still have not been able to see in my blind tasting and in my preferences for what I think are good cups, regardless of roast level and style. I still find SSP does the best, unless you go to dark roast, in which case there's a lot of options. I've talked about that a lot. I do the To Be Fair line all the time. You need me around you to harmonize it. What camera does Ugo use? Yes, so I bought him a Sony R6 and a Sony R5. Camera A is the R5. Camera B is the R6. I don't ask about lenses. Okay, I just bought. I don't know. You'll have to ask him. And then we use a Rode overhead mic because I hate lavalier mics. I'm not a fan. We do have Rode lavaliers. I just don't like using them. I use them when I do my coffee golfer videos. If you have not seen those, I play golf now. I'm a golf guy. But I bring coffee to the course. And I'm now reaching out to golfers that are coffee people, which is fun. Don't remember what I do. Some flair because I don't drink sake enough to justify it now that I have an Oxo. And I get that. How are soup milk drinks? A lot of people loved him. I just don't do milk drinks, so I've not actually tried it at all. Yeah, but a lot of people like Christopher Farron, who I had on my last unfiltered video. His wife makes one every day. Soup du jour, soup con leche every day. Sopa con leche. It's like ZB6 and that's as close as how do you? Well, I'm now in contact with Oxo. I have gotten in contact with them. If you notice on the video, they responded. So I did get an email and I have contacted. And it's Bailey from Intelligentsia. With the Buku Zerno 2 Lagome P80 coming out, the time for an 80 millimeter is coming hits. Oh my goodness. Are you bringing your gear to the golf course? Of course I do. That's the whole point of the channel. I go play golf, and at the halfway mark, I brew coffee. And sometimes, like with upcoming videos, I'll talk more and more with coffee people. So the first few videos are just me playing golf. So it's a little bit more boring, I'll be honest. You're watching me play golf, and I just talk about stories. So I talk, in one video, I talk about my barista background. In one video, I talk about, it's just like, one-on-one. But then recently I did a video, 2 videos in a row. Second one's coming out this weekend with an actual golf professional who is a massive home enthusiast named Michael. And he has a decent espresso machine. He has a Slayer. He's got an Oxo Rapid Brewer. He's like big time into espresso and soup and filter. And he brings his gear to every tournament he plays in and brews coffee before the round, after the round. So I play golf with him in Sweden and we talk about coffee. It's fun. But yeah, we always brew. And most recent, like 4 videos have all been soup at the turn. List top 5 SSP burrs, or is that too controversial? Interested in 80 millimeters or no? At the 80 millimeter, without question, my favorite burr is the ULF/HU. So if you buy the Weber version, those are called ULFs. They're made by SSP. They're blind, though, and they are compatible, I believe, with all 3 of those grinders. Well, I don't know about the Lagome, but I know it's compatible with the Buku and the Zerno. And then if you get the screwed version, which I recommend the screwless overrib, of course, but the screwed version is called the HU in SSP nomenclature. So that's my number one at the 80 millimeter platform. Number two is a bit more difficult. It depends. I really do like the original Didding Lab Sweet burrs. Issue is their tolerances are trash in the sense that because it's cast metal, they say they've done some things recently in their tooling that allows for more consistency, but so many of them come super warped. And so it really depends on how lucky you get with the draw. So it's hard to put the Didding Lab Suite as number two because you like if you have a perfect set, let's say you spend the hundreds of dollars to get the set and they come in, they're parallel, they're not warped, then that's number two. But honestly, it's like pin in a haystack type of thing, at least in my experience. I remember Jonathan Gagne got a pair because he loved them, I think, so much. Maybe I brewed coffee for him with it or something, but he had it and he bought a pair and they were so warped he couldn't even make espresso. So it just depends on the draw. I also like I do like the SSP version of the cast burrs. Let's see. Let me just pull some out. The low uniformities are quite good too. I do like the. I'm trying to remember all the burrs that I have, and then I'll finalize the order. The DV2 Ultra. That's the normal. Yeah, I would say. Okay, I'll say high uniformity / ULF. Next, I would put. Let's be safe. I'll say low uniformity is next. Then I would put the Didding Lab Suite. I'm sorry. Number one is ULF / HU. Number two is the Didding Lab Suite by SSP. Number three is the Didding Lab Suite. Number four is the low uniformity. Then number five, I would actually probably put Weber's Core burrs as number five. Now, they're not anything special, but they're essentially identical to EK43 standard cast burrs. Almost identical in cut profile and particle distribution. They do a good job. They're very all-arounder. They can do decent filter and good espresso. So okay. Cool. All right. I think we're good. I've been on here long enough. Any news about Oxfam Europe? Last I heard was in the fall, but I've not talked to them for a while, so who knows? Thank you so much for watching about my controversies. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was, I hope it was fun. I hope it was a good time. I had a good time doing it. Thank you so much to Airtime. Again, check out their link down below. Hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel if you just clicked onto here and you haven't yet. Hit the bells for notification. Again, check out Airtime. You can get all these sick graphics. Burman, are you kidding me? Like, let's be honest here. Ain't nobody got freaking gifts like that. That's all you want in life are these gifts. Don't lie to me. You want some Superman, okay? So go check out Airtime. Link will be there in a second. Hit the like, all that stuff. You know what to do. I love you all. Check out my SCA videos or I got the inspired by SCA videos on my main channel, which is it's the best coffee series ever, okay? Go check that out. Thanks for the support, seriously. I hope that you all brew something tasty today. No controversy, no cap. Cheers. Now let me find the end stream button. Lovely.